A very good evening to everyone present here. Just to make sure, can you all see my screen?
Yep.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. So, firstly, before I begin with today's discussion, I would like to thank each and every one of you to take out the time from your busy schedules and attend this mini seminar, you can call it. And instead of this seminar, just to give a brief, it's not going to be me lecturing you or me giving you information. It's going to be of a discussion. So I'd really appreciate if it was an active participation from both the sides, because the PPT is nothing. It's just questions, and we're just going to discuss the questions. That's all this presentation is basically all about. So, with that being said, let's begin. Today, we're going to talk about education. And I know that we all here are stressed seniors in their last year of high schools, and the last thing we want to do is talk about education. But trust me, this is not going to be your contemporary education talks. Oh my God, which college do you want to go? Which bachelor's do you want to pursue? It's going to be a talk on the general outlook or a general framework of how education has come about and how our current scenarios has affected it. With that being said, let's move on. Okay, so for starters, let's break the ice. So, because of the whole pandemic situation, I'm pretty sure we are doing this virtually, and Zoom being the spoil sport it is, it shows all of our names on our little screens there. So instead of telling each other our names, we're gonna change it up a bit. We're gonna change the rules up a bit. So you have to introduce yourself as your least favorite subject. So, for example, hi, I'm business studies, and I am hated by students because I don't know how to mind my own business. That is my introduction. So, anyone would like to go first? Okay, I'll pick one of you then. All of you have glasses. The one without glasses.
Okay, so hi, I'm Math, and I'm hated by students because I'm a very tough subject.
Agreed. 100% agreed. Okay, next one. Who should I choose? Okay, the one with the blue wall behind her back.
Very clear observation. So hi, I'm physics, and everyone hates me because I make their heads hurts. The unit hurts.
That was a nice one. That was a nice one. Both of you have white walls. Okay, the one with the painting at the back.
Hi, I'm accounts. I'm hated by everyone because I have the longest chapters ever.
Oh, I agree. I relate. Oh my God. We have this one chapter which is like 144 pages. Please, it's too much. Okay, and the last but not the least, the one with the fancy background.
I am chemistry, specifically organic chemistry, because I'm literally just so complex. Every question, I'm something like totally else. The whole concept changes every question.
Oh, complexities are not good for life. Anyways, now that we're done, so we have with us today, we have business studies, we have chemistry, we have physics, we have math, and we have accounts. Wow, we have 5 really diverse subjects. Let's see how we all are going to bond over the course of this presentation. Okay, so first things first, what are your thoughts on the current education system? Now, since we all belong to a similar education system, that being the Indian curriculum, what are your thoughts on how the entire curriculum is framed, and from the base to the foundation to your intermediate level? How do you think it prepares you or for the world, or how do you think, what tools does it give you, or what tools does it can give you? What does it lack? What are the pros? What are the cons? So we'll start with physics.
Right. So being a CBSE student, I believe there are specific topics that we don't really use in life as such. Specific topics are needed to be able to test our educational abilities and academic abilities. I believe in that. But as CBSE students, we are required to select specific streams. If we want one subject, we have to have several other subjects tagging along. So I believe a reform in that is needed, as well as maybe changing up the curriculum to things that we will need in life, such as teaching finance or IT skills, which is more necessary now because everything is online. So those are the reforms I believe should be implemented.
That's actually a really good point, because we see students who know how to solve complex organic chemistry solutions and do calculus, but then you ask them how to do your taxes and they're just blank. They're like, I don't know how to do my taxes. So yeah, that is something. Financial literacy is something that is definitely very, very, very important for students and for everyone, and it's something they have to know. So that is actually a really good point that can be implemented. Any pros do you think of the system?
It kind of teaches you to be diligent and how to stop procrastinating, because CBSE has specific examinations that are really important, and if you once you start slacking, you can't really go back. So it teaches you the importance of hard work and perseverance. So that is, I think, are the pros of CBSE, but there are several cons as well.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, they constantly keep you on your toes. You can't afford to sit back, or because if you sit back once, I mean, you can pull yourself back up, but then again, that requires a lot of effort. So it constantly keeps you on your toes, right? Yeah. So next we will move on to accounts. Accounts. What is your thoughts? I believe you have a lot to say.
Yeah, personally, as a commerce student right now in CBSE, I believe that the schools they should introduce applied maths and stuff which is related to us, because right now the science we're learning it's not really applicable in future for us in courses. So I feel like there's not much choices in CBSE, and otherwise they teach well and everything's fine, but the choices are the drawback for us because it's not related to our course often.
Yeah, yeah. That's definitely true. Like, for example, even I'm a commerce student, as a matter of fact, and I want to pursue something that is not like I'm doing a few subjects that's not related to what I want to pursue. So that is something that's like an added burden, you could say, on the students, right? That they have to do this just because they want to choose the other subject. Yeah. So there's a limitation in your choice of subjects, and the creativity of the students is restricted because if you choose physics, you have to take chemistry. So there's sort of a limitations to that. Yeah, that's definitely a very good point. Next, moving on to math.
Well, I think the cons are that I think the whole concept of mugging and just like by hearting your entire textbook and vomiting that into the paper, I think it takes it's of literally no benefit, and I think that should change. And instead of that, we should have open textbook assessments, or probably more like something like case study related or something like that, instead of just you have no idea what you're studying, you're just learning it because you have to, and you just vomit it into the paper. I don't think that benefits anyone, so I think that should change.
Yeah, that's actually a very good point. I mean, we all are CBSE students here, and we've all done this back in our 10th grade board exams when we were studying, for example, geography or history. We used to just mug it up. But after the board exams, I know this might sound very nerdy, but while I was getting, sorted with all my books, I just opened my history textbook once, and without the constant fear of having to mug it up or learn it, once you just sit and read it, it's actually so interesting. So the way it is taught, it makes you sort of you repel to the subject. It creates a sort of repulsion. You don't feel like learning it, when if you do it without the stress of having to mug it up, it's actually a pretty good subject. So I think that's a very, very important thing that is missed on by our current education system. And last but not the least, chemistry. What are your thoughts?
See, everyone spoke about the cons, and if I start speaking about the cons, I think will take a lot of time. So
Yeah,
some of
that's
the
true.
pros that I've noticed, especially since last year, are that like we talked about the fact that it's more of mugging up and just memorizing everything, putting it down on paper. But then actually that has changed. I've noticed that because like since last year and before last year also, even in our board exams, we had these assertion reasoning questions, which are no way related to mugging up. If you have memorized something, then you can't attempt those questions at all. It's completely concept based. So that has been introduced. Then, especially for science subjects, we have all these case study questions where you have to read the paragraph, you have to attempt it on your own. There's no, if you've mugged up something, there's no way you can attempt that. So, yeah, it has been changing. I mean, obviously, it does need a lot of more changes. We need more like research based stuff more than this theoretical subjects. So, yeah, there are a lot of cons, but then I can see that they're improving on it.
Yeah, that, I mean, it's high time they adapt to the changing times. Yeah. So I think what we can expect is that they're changing, but I think we just need to change that speed from 1 time to 1x to 2x. I think just like change the speed a bit, but then having too much change in a very short amount of time is also not that acceptable. But yes, I think there are changes, but I think we all can agree that there is scope of improvement in the changes that are being made. That was a really good starting question, guys. I'm impressed. Moving on, our second question. Do you think we are slowly moving to a phase where we are questioning the validity of expensive degrees? Okay, now this question might sound a bit like, what do you mean? Are you questioning my BSc degree? No, that I'm not saying that. I'm saying the whole process of applying to college, taking a standardized exam, going to a college, spending $40,000, $50,000 per annum there, and then getting a degree, which is not affordable for everyone, right? So the education is being limited to a sector of people. So do you think we are slowly moving to a phase where education is which is inherently something that is supposed to be a fundamental right of every individual, is being limited to the upper strata of the, financially more stable and financially more capable people? Okay, so that's basically the question. Hope you guys understood that. So this time we'll start with accounts. What do you think?
Yeah, I do feel like we are moving to a phase where we're questioning the validity of expensive degrees. In like many times we say that people who earn more or have more money, they get the privilege of getting into university easily because they can pay and they can get into it. But people who are actually hardworking, they stay in the back and they don't get like what they deserve. So I feel like that is a change which has to be like you need to create more platforms or ways through which people who are actually worth it can get into universities and they don't have a disadvantage because they're not rich like others.
Yeah, I guess that's a really good point. There was a recent documentary as well on it on Netflix on how there's this whole illegalities in the entire, the top name universities, of how there is this whole scam going on, of how rich people, rich lawyers, rich investment bankers are paying millions and getting their kids into these top schools. So yeah, that is something that really, really puts hardworking and deserving students at a disadvantage. So I think that's a really good point you brought up. Next, we will go to chemistry.
So yeah, definitely. I mean, college is one of the most expensive things a person ever buys in their entire life. And education is a product. It's a product that you buy. You have to make the most of it. But then the thing is, now that product is, it's first of all, it's extremely expensive. Second is obviously these frauds keep going on. This recent thing happened in Pakistan, about that exact thing where they were just selling fake degrees to people who haven't even
Yeah,
attended a
yeah,
single day of college.
yeah, yeah.
So yeah, so I mean, a person cannot be judged by their education qualifications anymore. I mean, obviously, yeah, you have to be literate and stuff, but then that just by the degree, you can't judge a person for anything. You need to have, even for jobs and stuff. We have so many interviews. You see how the person presents themselves. So yeah, I mean, just by having that BSc this or masters this, that it doesn't really matter anymore.
Yeah, that is actually very true. And with the coming up of these whole virtual platforms of learning, where you can attend virtual classes and attend virtual colleges, which I think everyone's doing nowadays, which everyone has shifted to nowadays. But these virtual colleges, which are substantially lower in your prices, and I mean, you have to look at, like you said, education is a product, but it is an essential product, like your water, like your bread, like your food, like your shelter. Education is an essential product, and that is again being turning from an essential to a luxurious product, which should not be the case. Yes, that is very true. Next, moving on to physics.
So just I have to just add on to what Alia has said. Sorry. So
You mean
basically,
chemistry?
sorry. So basically, education is a product, obviously, and the people who deliver education, the teachers, there's school staff, there's so much that goes behind. It's just not a linear thing anymore. There's so many factors involved. So the prices are obviously increasing. Nothing is priced the same way as it was like 5 or 15 years ago. Prices are increasing, salaries are increasing, but yes, education is overpriced in some places. But yeah, I'm kind of neutral on this. I just want to remain neutral on this topic. I don't really have much to say.
Yeah, I mean that's acceptable. I mean, that's really that's acceptable if you don't have much to say on this, because again, it's such a complex thing, because in some places you see uh education being more accessible to local students, and you think that okay, makes sense, because the country definitely wants to educate its local students before turning on to the international students. But then you look at the international body and you say, but they're coming from war-torn countries, they don't have education systems in their countries, that's why they're coming to your country to gain education, but you're giving an unfair disadvantage to them. So again, it's very complicated, and I think before making any statement on this, I mean, definitely we all have to read more, we all have to know more, but yeah, it's actually a pretty complex situation, and you really have to look at both the sides before arriving at a conclusion. That's very true. Next, moving on to math, what do you have to say?
I mean, honestly, like right now, I need to start applying for college. And I think the whole process is so stressful. And just the fact that you have to decide where to go, which country. And once you decide a country or college, and then you need to see if the college has your course. I think everything is it's so stressful. And sometimes you just come to a point where you just question, like, is it even really necessary? Or is it even so important? Like, what am I doing this for? Like, I mean, now we live in a world where I mean, we're in the middle of a pandemic. Like, you never know what can happen. So you just questioning it, and the uncertainty. Sometimes you just question everything. Like, is it even necessary? What am I putting so much effort for? So I think maybe degrees don't have as much importance as they did before. I think now it's more, yeah, of course, your degree is important, like, but then your personality and everything else matters too, more than your degree. I think that's what
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah, that's actually very true. I think we all are going through that stage of applying to colleges, apply to this colleges, your personal statement, your marks, your SATs, your IELTS, TOEFL, whatever, your standardized test, getting transcripts, running behind the school. It's all such a stressful process, and it's because we haven't been made ready for it enough. I mean, you've lived your entire life till 11th, wherein you're just 11th, or you're even half of 12th, wherein you're always guided by your, and the school is such a protected environment, I'd say. And when, I mean, it's necessary for you to be out there, but then at some places it just becomes too sudden, because you can't throw a toddler into a jungle and expect them to live on, right? You have to give them the necessary tools. So I think the process should have been a bit more started earlier, I'd say. I mean, they should have made us mentally ready for it, or they should have told us what we are going up against or going up for. So I think that's actually really true. And plus, the whole pandemic situation has it's had its cons, but I think one of the things that it has done, it has brought the realities in front of us, so we can see that yes, our degrees are being questioned. Like, definitely you need a software engineering degree to develop a software, but that's not all about it. You need innovation, you need creativity, you need problem solving skills, you need team working skills, you need compassion, you need humanity. All of these skills matter in your personality, right? You can't just have your bachelor degree and say, yes, I'm qualified for this job. So I think that is what we have arrived at a conclusion for this question, right, guys? Yeah. Okay, let's move forward. This question is also related to your previous question. Do you think education, especially college, is starting to resemble a corporate structure? So a corporate structure is one in which profit maximization is your goal. So do you think the whole process of college application, where just to apply to a college you need to pay €100, you need to pay $100, $500, just application fees, and that's not affordable for a lot of people. So do you think educationists, or you can say education systems, or you can say colleges in particular, are becoming more like your corporate giants, wherein profit maximization and not education is their main motive or goal to move forward? So for this question, let's start with chemistry.
Yeah, so definitely all this like paying around like $20 to $30 just for the application is just ridiculous. I mean, we're just trying to apply to college. It's not even about the fees. Just for application paying that much, it's too much. And it's not only about applications, the exams and stuff, obviously they are overpriced, but then, so yeah, definitely, I mean, it is resembling a corporate structure, even though I don't really know what exactly corporate structure means. But then, yeah, it is all, everything is just a game of money. That's it. In today's world,
Yeah,
everything is
that's
a game
really
of
true.
money.
That's true. That's true. I mean, I'm applying to a college and my entrance, I mean, my application fee is 100 euros. 100 euros is just my application fee. You convert that to my local currency, it's around 400 dirhams, which is a lot of money. So just to apply, and if you don't get in, you get that whole downward spiral of, oh my God, I wasted this much money. So it's really, it affects your, both your, like, it affects your mental health as well, because then you start thinking that I didn't do good enough. So, okay, so we're going to speed things up a bit from here on. So I'll be asking two people for first question. So for this, we'll move on to physics.
So just adding on to what chemistry has said, obviously education is a money-making industry now as well in today's world. And just for applying, it's not testing any of your merits. It's just seeing how much money you have in your pocket, just the application fees as such. I get having to do some English proficiency exams and paying a large sum of money for that because you are getting something sort of in return. But when you're just applying, there's no guarantee as such that you are going to be getting anything. Worst case scenario, you'll just be faced with dejection and sadness, and like you said, it will affect your mental health. So things can go wrong and haywire very soon. So yeah, it is resembling a corporate structure now, but to be very honest, what is not resembling a corporate structure in today's world?
Yeah,
Everyone
that's
wants
true.
money, and everyone is in pursuit of money, so there's no way we can sort of just pinpoint the education system and criticize that with by overlooking other systems. So that is what I
Yeah,
believe.
that's true. That is actually very true. We're all in this deep downward spiral of capitalism, which seems to have no end. Okay, moving on to our next question we have here. Do you think education can be carried out online? Special emphasis on children aged 5 to 12. So I think four of us here have siblings and one of us does not have siblings here. So we're going to take both the sides here. Okay. So uh, special emphasis on kids 5 to 12, not our age bracket. We're looking at smaller kids. So in your experience, you've seen your siblings study at home, you've not seen your siblings study at home, you've seen teachers work day and night. Do you think education can be 100% replaced online for students or for kids or for children who are just starting to develop their personality? I hope I'm not leading on to your answer too much, but I'm just trying to, yeah, I'm just trying to give you a basic brief. So do you think it can be done or do you think it cannot be done? Do you think online, I mean, considering the situation right now, we have no option but to carry it online, but do you think replacing it 100%, is that going to work in the future? Starting with accounts, you have a sibling, right? So do you
Yeah.
think it can work?
I personally think it doesn't work, especially at that age. As you said, it's like this time they're developing their personality. School, it like gives them the exposure, and it's uh, they get that discipline kind of thing in school. Over here, if you see online, like personally, my sibling who is around 11, she does not study usually because it's like online and everyone's taking it easy. And even though like we have it like it's our last year and stuff and we should be serious, but for them it's like the beginning point of their school, like the main years of their school where they have to build up their base. Then only later on it'll come in use for them. But if right now only, if they don't pay attention, like in online, I'm pretty sure like many people take it easier because it's online and it's easier, like no one really cares much about it. So I think education can't be carried online for like kids between 5 to 12.
Yeah, that's actually a really important point because kids, they have such a small attention span. In that small attention span, you expect them to sit through 40 minutes, 120 minutes long lectures and just listen to the teachers when there are 1,000 distractions around them. You move a pen and they'll get distracted. That's the attention span of a child. So I think expecting them to sit through 40, 45 minutes of online lectures when it's tough for us to do that as well. And we're well above the age of 16. So if it's tough for us, we cannot imagine what it must be for the kids. So yeah, definitely that's a very important point, that there are so many distractions, it's hard for them to focus, and these are the years they build their base. If this go wrong, then their entire foundation is lost. So yeah, that's actually really, it's a very dangerous situation wherein it can go up, south or north, and there's this fraction of difference between the two. Now let's take an opinion from the odd one out here, Miss Math.
Yeah, I agree with accounts. I mean, just the first few years, like between age 5 to 12, I think those are the most crucial years. Like, if, as you said, if those go wrong, then it's like done. I mean, at this age, we can understand why we're made to sit at home and do online school. But how do you tell a 5-year-old that there's a pandemic going on and that you can't go to school,
Very true.
right? Exactly. So, and the discipline is not there. Like, if you were going to regular school and, for example, you didn't do an assignment, then you didn't do it, then you face the consequences. But over here, you don't do it, then you can just do something and you just somehow manage to finish the assignment. There is no discipline coming in, and those years, I mean, they are like the most fun and most precious years of your life, and I don't think they should miss out on that, because we are too, but I think I think we are lucky to have had those years of school life, and
Yeah, that's really
enjoy
true.
them. Yeah.
Yeah. That's actually
So
really true. I remember us being back in probably third grade, fourth grade. We used to have our time of our lives in the school. No worries about anything. Just used to go to school, used to study, used to have fun. It was also balanced. And when you go to school, you have a routine that, okay, you get up at 6, you go to school, you come back 1:30, you eat your lunch, then you relax for a bit, you go down to play. That was such an important part of our lives, to have physical activity, and that's just lost for these kids. And I genuinely feel so bad
exactly.
for them that they have no physical activity and they're just sitting on the screen for 6 hours a day. What are they taking away from that? Their eyesight is anyway gone. And my sister, she wears this thick glasses more than mine. So yeah, I think it's definitely, you cannot replace. I mean, right now we don't have an option, but once I think we're living in a country where we are blessed to have such a vast vaccination drives for children above 12. So I think at least for those who we should get vaccinated and follow the protocols and just get back to school as soon as we can. And they are following it. I mean, we few of us have been going to school on site, and we are seeing how wonderfully the government guidelines and restrictions are being followed, and how there are regular checks on everything that the school is doing. So I think the government is doing their part, and I think the schools are doing their part. I think it's time for us to trust them even a tad bit. I mean, it's very dangerous for them to be out there, but we have to learn to adjust to the changing times as well. Okay, that was a
Yeah.
lovely interaction. Moving on to the last and final question. How has your personal experience with online education shaped your personality? Okay, now this online education hit us in our prime years of enjoying our high school life, and we lost up on that. So how do you think it has shaped up your personality? How do you think it has affected your mental health? How do you think it has just overall, there have been ups and downs. I mean, it's very depressing carrying out school online. I mean, we all are speaking from experience for the past 1 year. So how do you think it has shaped you as a person? Starting with this time, we'll take physics.
Um, to answer this question, in terms of mental health, I feel that there has been an increasing trend, in students facing depression, facing anxiety, being away from their friends. School used to sort of provide a form of escapism, if you'd call it. Getting up in the morning, it gives you purpose. You got to get dressed, discipline comes into place. You go to school, attend your school, pay attention, be there with your friends. That sort of gives you discipline, and sort of gives you a positive outlook. It gives you something to look forward to every day. But now you're just waking up 5 minutes before school time and just logging into the meeting and staring blankly into rectangular boxes that were supposed to be our friends' faces. So that is obviously a very depressing outlook. And in terms of shaping one's personality, we all obviously we are above 16, so most of the development of our personality is already done. But there's obviously we are high school students. Interacting with one another is very important at this time of age, and it's also crucial we get to know information from each other. We all are applying to colleges. That sort of guidance from each other, having that discussion, it helps you relieve some stress as well. And I believe for me personally, online school, I used to not speak out more often, but now when it's online, you have to switch on your camera yourself. You have to unmute yourself purposely in order to be heard. Otherwise, when you were in school, the teacher could notice you weren't paying attention. She would pick you out and you would be forced to speak up. But now it's just very independent. You have to have that sort of intrinsic motivation in yourself to, unmute and be like, I want to participate. And having that motivation right now, like I said, it's a very depressing time for us students to be missing out on this important time of our life. So that is, I believe, is my answer.
That is really good outlook, because especially for us, school is so fast paced. We're rushing with portions and everything because we have to finish our syllabus, and that's justified on the school's part. But then again, we have this thing where people are left out. I mean, there are people, I mean, in a class of 30 students, there are 30 students with 30 different personalities. You cannot expect the teacher to personally look out for each and every student, and that is acceptable on their part. But then again, in that whole race, some students are left behind, and which is not what education's aim is to. Education's aim is to collectively educate, which I think happened much smoother, or much with much more impact when we had in real life or on-site classes, as I'd say. So yes, that is definitely a very good outlook, or a very good opinion that you shared with us. Next, we have chemistry.
Okay, so if I'm speaking from my personal experience, my whole experience with online school has made a big, big, big change in my personality, and I think everyone must have noticed that. I used to be the kid who used to be like, okay, I have these two friends, I will talk to those two friends only. I'm not going to talk to anyone else. I did used to interact with the teachers, and I never used to speak up. I think you must be knowing that. But then now, I mean, obviously, I am speaking right now. I wouldn't have had the guts to even do it before. So yeah, I've realized that you can't just live in your shell hidden for the rest of your life. You need to socialize. You need to talk to people. You need to, make a place for yourself in society. So yeah, it's not. I mean, online education has not only taught us about the importance of education and how you need to take your own studies seriously, about how you're studying just for yourself, not for marks or parents or anything else. So apart from that, it has also taught a lot about your personal, social life, how you need to, go out of your comfort zone sometimes.
Yeah, that's actually, we had such a balanced discussion. We saw the pros and we saw the cons. So exactly the point that physics pointed out, it can go both ways. You can either be left behind, or you can learn to pull your socks up and be active in class. So I think that really depends upon the student, and it has really both the outlooks. So I think we got a perfect balanced discussion here where we saw both the sides. And I think that is definitely hats off to the panelists and hats off to the guests for pulling it off. You guys are just phenomenal. So we have the last question, or you can say it's not a question, it's a discussion. What are your takeaways from this session? What did you like most about the session? What are you gonna take away something back home and listen and think that, oh yes, I talked about that today and that really changed my view on something. So we'll just have a brief 30-second, 45-second talk for each person, starting with accounts. Let's go.
We talked about the pros and cons about all of the questions you asked, and obviously, you said like in this online school, people can either be left behind or they can pull up their socks and actually work towards their goal. I believe this session has given me inspiration because we were actually lucky to spend our time in school like all these years. Even though our last 2 years we did it online and we missed on a lot of things, we're actually lucky we spent like our junior years and everything in school. We had fun, and I'm really thankful for that because right now the kids, they're stuck on online school when it's their time to enjoy and like enjoy in school and live their life. So I got the positive outlook on online school for us, at least.
Yeah, I mean, we got to be a little more, we got the sense of gratitude filled in us after the session, I hope. Yeah, that's a good takeaway. Next, let's move on to Matt.
I mean, for me, the takeaway from this session, I think, would be what chemistry said at the end on the online school, that that you can't be in your bubble and you can't remain in your shell. You need to make a place in society. I think I changed, but not as much. Like I'm still very shy and still very reserved. Like I think a lot before doing anything. So I think that was probably what I found like very moving in this session. Yeah.
It's a work in progress. Yeah, definitely. It's all a work in
Yes.
progress. We're all learning. We're all in this process of learning, making mistakes and growing. And I think us accepting the fact that we can do it online as well is, I think that's really great on our part. I mean, we deserve a pat on our backs for that. Yes. Moving on to physics.
First of all, I just wanted to say it was a very informative session, and everyone spoke up, and you brought up really good points as well. So just congratulations on that.
Thank you so
And
much.
also my takeaways from this would be, your questions covered a very diverse range of topics. We discussed about, mental health of students, then we discussed about personality development. We spoke about online school as well as college, and our experiences personally with each of these topics. So that was my takeaway from the session. We were able to balance out the pros and the cons of each of these things. So congrats on a great session.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I mean, that was all also thanks to all of you guests, because you showed outlooks that I didn't think of before. Like there are positives as well, there are negatives as well. It's how we take, it's all on us how we take our negative and change it into a positive. I mean, you science students will be knowing how to do it better, but we're all in a learning process. Next, chemistry.
I definitely learned a lot of things that like I was aware of, but I didn't know a lot of detail into like these corporate giants and stuff. That was a term that I hadn't really heard that much before. So yeah, I learned a lot through it. I got different perspectives on one question. Like if I had a perspective on one particular thing, but so many other, the four of you have completely different perspectives. So yeah, I got to um, understand about other people's thinking on one particular subject too.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, that's actually, this is the whole point of this, was to talk, talk it out, because we're all in such busy schedules. We don't take the time out to talk about things. And I think that's really important for us, that we need to talk. I mean, listen and talk. Both of them go hand in hand. So I think this, the major aim for this session was to do just that, was to listen and to talk and do both, and to understand and to just have a discussion on something. And I think we have successfully achieved that. We can say that, yeah. So thank you so much for taking time out and having this discussion. And thank you for speaking up and talking your mind and speaking your opinions. It has been a pleasure to talk to you all. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you.